Hey everyone, how you doing? Hope you all had a good day. And today, well, today we got a big surprise. So, we finally got an update about the Sonic the Hedgehog animated TV series that'll be coming on Netflix in 2022. So, I'm sure we all know by now, this show was accidentally leaked on Netflix's Twitter page about a month and a half ago during the Game Awards. But they very quickly took it down because I'm pretty sure it wasn't supposed to be announced at the time. But hey, we all knew about it. The cat was already out of the bag. Everybody was already talking. Everybody was already speculating. But today, on February 1st, 2021, we got some huge updates about the show. We learnt the name. We finally got our first look at the logo. And we also got a very vague description of what the show is going to be about. So just this morning, the Netflix Twitter page uploaded this message that said, "Yes, it's true. Sega's legendary video game icon Sonic the Hedgehog will star in a new 3D animated series from Sega, Wild Brain Studio, and Man of Action Entertainment, premiering on Netflix in 2022. And we can see right underneath it, we see the logo of the show, which says Sonic Prime. The show is going to be handled by Man of Action Entertainment. In case you guys don't know who they are, they're the animation studio who have worked on shows such as Ben 10, Generator X, and the Mega Man Fully Charged animated series, which was also CGI. And Wild Brain Studios is going to be helping them develop it as well, who have worked on stuff like the new Peanut shorts and the 2019 Carmen Sandiego series. So I'm sure we all know by now that the last Sonic TV show that came out was Sonic Boom in 2014, which most people did seem to like from who I've talked to, but Sonic Boom was basically just a slice of life comedy, and there was nothing wrong with that, of course, but a lot of people since then have been kind of clamoring for a more narrative-driven Sonic show, something more along the lines of Sonic SAT-AM or Sonic X, which I get the feeling that this show is going to be more in line with something like Sonic X. Man of Action is a studio that does develop shows more along that line, but they do still have an overarching story where the characters develop and the plot changes and the stakes are raised, and I do get the feeling that it's going to be a lot like that because shows like Ben 10 and Generator X do that sort of thing, and I did watch both shows when I was a kid, and I enjoyed them quite a bit, and I really do think Sonic would match that kind of storytelling style very well, since Sonic has sort of a very rich, if yet very confusing lore. And I do believe that with the right creative team behind it, they could actually make something very intriguing and very close to what Sonic fans have been wanting for the series for a long while now. According to Netflix, Sonic Prime draws upon the keystone to the brand and features the blue blur of video game fame in a high-octane adventure where the fate of a strange new multiverse rests in his gloved hands. Sonic's adventure is more about a race to save the universe. It's a journey of self-discovery and redemption." So that description of self-discovery and redemption really gives me a lot of faith in the crew behind the show, because while I have nothing against the current writers for this, well, I guess now former writers of the Sonic games, Warren Graff and Ken Pontac, who wrote the stories for the games of Colors, Generations, Lost World, and Forces, and I have absolutely nothing against these two at all. They look like really cool dudes. I'm sure they've written great stuff before, and they'll continue to do so in the future, but if I have to be brutally honest, the stories that they've written for the Sonic games since they were put in charge have been some of the worst in the franchise's history. I'm really sorry, I am, but they've put so little focus on trying to expand the world of Sonic and just want to make funny jokes. It's just like, Sonic is cool and cocky, Tails is smart, Knuckles is a gullible idiot, Amy's the strong girl, Shadow is the emo loner, and it's just like, they don't really do much to go beyond that nowadays. And whenever they try to, it just falls flat on their face, especially in Sonic Forces, where they try to give that game a more serious tone, but everyone just acts so out of character in that game that it just kind of comes across as funny and forced, and I'm sorry, but the writing for those games was bad. Does anybody remember that infamous moment from Sonic Lost World where the script decides to be all serious and then Sonic goes, "I'm supposed to be the fastest, but I was too slow to save my buddy"? It's like, oh my god, really? We're going that route now? Come on. Again, nothing against those two at all, it's just like, I'm sorry, the writing just wasn't good. So it just gives me hope that everybody in the show is going to be well characterized, that they have a plan in mind for what they want to do with each of them. I don't even care that much if they decide to change up the character's personality, because hey, at least it's something, at least it's some kind of character arc, and I'd rather have someone be out of character but still develop than just have nothing to work with at all, so yeah. And actually, speaking of the characters, it does talk very briefly about Roger Craig Smith, because I'm sure we all know by now, he recently stepped down as the voice of Sonic, and it says here, additionally, it would seem that the recent departure of longtime Sonic voice actor Roger Craig Smith is likely related, and that someone else will be voicing the character once Sonic Prime releases next year. So just very quickly, I want to give my thoughts on Roger leaving. I do think it's a shame. I think Roger was very underappreciated as the voice for Sonic, and some people might say he made the character sound too old. Some people thought he might have tried too hard to make the character sound really cool. But I guess it never bothered me for two main reasons. One is because Sonic Colors for me was the point where I kind of started to become a big fan of Sonic. I had played games before then, mainly Sonic Heroes, but I never really understood the importance of voice acting in media until I started to play Sonic Colors, and his voice was kind of just the one that I stuck with for the longest while. Especially since many of the games starring the other actors like Ryan and Jason I didn't play until after Generations and even Lost World. So Roger's voice is just kind of the one that's stuck with me the longest. Basically, for me, he's the most nostalgic of all of Sonic's voice actors, as even though he is the most recent one. And secondly, it's because I truly never think Roger really got the chance to show how good he could do in the role in terms of being dramatic. I know I made the joke earlier about how Sonic Forces and Sonic Lost World tried to have their serious moments and how it fell flat, but that certainly wasn't the fault of Roger, because he's a very skilled voice actor and he's shown time and time again that he can do dramatic voices really well. But the writing of the games just never really allowed him to take advantage of that, and I think it's a huge shame. And there's actually a third reason that I forgot to mention, but it's also because Roger's older sounding voice, at least in my opinion, sort of made the franchise Sonic as the character sort of felt like he was aging a little bit. Like, you've got the youthful energy of Ryan, you've got sort of that teenage energy that Jason had, and then you've got Roger, who gave sort of like a young adult or older teenager kind of attitude, which I know some people hate, but I honestly thought it kind of fit rather well. But again, that's more just because of the direction of the writing rather than Roger himself. So hey Roger, you did good and you will be missed. For many people, you were the definitive Sonic voice for many kids of the new generation, including me, and I wish you luck on all future projects that you are working on, and your time as Sonic will be fondly remembered. But let's get back on track now. So I mainly went on that tangent because with the news that Roger is stepping down, it gets me kind of curious to know what they're going to do with the voice direction in this show. It's obvious that they're going to have to get a new voice for Sonic, and I'm wondering if the show in a way is kind of meant to serve as a catalyst for the future Sonic voice, which if that's the case, it would be kind of like a inverse of the 4Kids situation when Sonic X came out, you had a whole bunch of new voice actors replacing the ones from the games, and eventually they stepped in as the actual voice actors for the games, where instead of having a new cartoon with new voices that will eventually take over the main cast, there might be a new game that will take over for the cast of the cartoon. So like I said, a reverse of the 4Kids situation that happened in 2003 to 2005. No, I don't think Ben is going to do the voice of Sonic in the future because he's a very high-profile Hollywood actor and I just don't think Sega has the money to get him constantly. I love Ben Sonic, don't get me wrong, but I really don't think that he's going to be voicing him for the games. For future Sonic movies, absolutely, but for the games and this TV series, no, I don't. And I'd hate to crush your hearts, but I definitely do not think that they're going to get Ryan or Jason back to voice Sonic. I'm sorry, but that's just reality. They're definitely going to want to get some fresh young blood to voice Sonic for this project. But hey, let's move on from the voices now. They also said that the show is going to have 24 episodes, which that's interesting to me because they didn't specify if this was only going to be a season one, like a one season long show, or if this is just going to be 24 episodes for a whole season. Typically, a show will usually get more seasons if it gets high ratings, even if the show is really bad. And if it's not going to be a miniseries, that kind of tells me that this might be an 11-minute long show, because I can't really think of many Netflix series that have one season with 24 episodes, with each episode is like 40 minutes to an hour long. Because if you have 11-minute episodes and you have 24 episodes to take up that time, it'll only take you a few hours to watch the whole thing. Because with a franchise like Sonic that has so many characters and so many creative set pieces, there's a ton that you can do to expand on those ideas and those locations, and it gets me really excited to see what they can do with these areas that the games couldn't do. So I hope it does get more seasons, if the show turns out good, but hey, we'll just have to wait and see on that. I also want to briefly talk about the logo for the show. It looks like the normal modern Sonic logo, which tells us that this is most likely going to be a modern Sonic focused show, but it's got cracks all around it, like broken glass or porcelain, and I think that's really, really interesting. Like I said earlier, with the whole multiverse idea, this kind of tells me that the show is going to be about Sonic and his friends possibly traveling through multiple different dimensions and trying to fix some sort of broken timeline. So like a Spider-Verse or Dragon Ball Super angle. And the prime part of the logo looks like it's got it's got multiple different layers of the same word going behind it, and you can kind of see what looks like a different thread of universes that all connect together behind it. I love multiverse ideas because it just gives such sort of creative potential as to the kind of different realities that you can play around with. Like, maybe, like, if this is assuming this is not the modern Sonic from the games, which it probably won't. And by that, I mean, like, the modern Sonic from the actual games, like Forces and Colors and Generations, those kind of ordeals. But if this is a completely separate continuity, they could do so much to play around with that idea. They could have this Sonic visit or see Sonics from other games or TV shows. Like, it probably won't go that route. Like, I seriously doubt there's going to be an episode where this Sonic meets the Sonic Boom version of Sonic or the game, or Archie or IDW Sonics, but it's just sort of an idea that I think would be really interesting with the whole multiverse angle that it seems like they're trying to go for. And it also kind of, in a way, relates to that whole self-discovery and redemption thing that they talked about earlier. Like, does Sonic do something that messes up the timeline, or does Dr. Eggman do something to mess up the timeline, and they have to try and restore peace and balance to all universes before some sort of space-time anomaly causes all universes to collapse in on themselves? That's just an idea I thought of at the top of my head, but it gets me so excited for that. I love multiverses, and the fact that Sonic is going to tackle that idea is just really fun to think about. And the fact that we're going to get something that is going to expand on the idea, especially a TV show and just not a game where they only have so many hours to tell that story, is going to be really exciting. I also just generally hope the show is visually pleasing as well. I'm a tad nervous about the CG animation just because CGI for TV shows is usually pretty cheap, and it just doesn't look like the same kind of quality that movies do. Sonic Boom had decent character animation, I felt, but it did have some pretty bland backgrounds generally, probably just because of the low budget of the TV show. And there are a few CGI Netflix series which do have just kind of very standard CG animation, like not bad CGI, but just like very, I don't know, average CGI, like Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, for example. Not bad CGI at all, but just like, I don't know, run-of-the-mill. It's not the most visually pleasing art style, is what I mean. But you never know. That Mega Man show that Man of Action did work on fully charged with CGI, and they went for a bit more of a stylized 2D cel-shaded approach, so maybe they'll do the same thing here. At the very least, I hope the show is very visually distinct and not just run-of-the-mill 3D Hollywood television CGI, but hey, we'll wait and see on that. We'll probably get some promotional art later on in the year that'll give us a glimpse as to what it will look like. Let's just hope with some good fight scenes and for some good character animation, something that SEGA hasn't really been able to do recently, unfortunately. But yeah, that's really all I have to say right now about Sonic Prime. I'm very excited, as you can probably tell. 2021 and 2022 are going to be huge years for Sonics. With the 30th anniversary of the franchise happening this year, and just a whole bunch of other shit going beyond, like new games, a sequel to the movie, and of course now this TV show, Sonic is really branching out in the entertainment industry. He's no longer just a video game star, he's now a movie star, a television star, and just all sorts. I'm really excited. He's basically just become a pop culture global icon at this point, and it's really promising and exciting. So, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you all in my next video, so take care.